Hello there, YouTube fans. Now I'm on to the fifth Friday the 13th. Say it again, the fifth Friday the 13th. That being Friday the 13th, part 5, A New Beginning. After the success of Friday the 13th, the final chapter, which was bullshit, sorry, originally was going to be the last one, they decided that money talks and Paramount decided what the hell, let's toss in on it. So they decided to go with a fifth one. Now, a lot of people say the fifth one was weak. They say it's not as good as the others, and it's the weakest one in the series. I've got to disagree because I actually like the fifth one. I think the fifth one brought the character, well, not even the character, because it brings it back. Let's just say it brought it back in being a straightforward murder mystery, like the original one, and it brought it back from being a bit more down to earth, like the original one. I would actually say this is the most disturbing one out of the series because the same director, for people that may or may not know this, it's the same director what given us one day before, Silent Raids. Now, you remember me reviewing Silent Raids, shot in 1984. Well, this one was one day after. The same director did this film, Friday the 13th, Part 5, A New Beginning. You do get a different Tommy in it, and he's a lot more older. He's more of a teenager, played by a different actor. And one of them, who works in this youth centre for kids, he's like kids, they're disturbed and they need counselling and all this. Well, one of them, you might think, I've seen him before. Think of Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. He was the one who Indy was influenced on. I think, I'm going to be like him. That's the same guy. Do you get a beautiful woman in it and all, which I know it's wearing a bra in one scene, which is all wet. I'll have that in a minute. Who also works in this house. It's like a house, like I say, for young people who are disturbed. You got one lad who's a bit on the bid side. Yeah, he's overweight. I use a nicer word there. And what does he do? He basically talks himself to death because it's this one lad, and really it's their stupidity. You don't give a lad who's disturbed a fucking axe. You don't give a lad a fucking axe who's not all there. Not being audible, but he's not all there. This is the type of lad that if he said excuse me or spoke to him and he took you the one way, he'd probably cut your fucking head off. In other words, he's a bit psycho. So you give a lad who's a psycho a fucking axe. A axe. But anyway, that's what happens. They give him an axe and he's chopping wood, and this lad basically just dabbing and dabbing and dabbing until he basically gets in his fucking tits. The lad uses his temper and literally cuts the lad to pieces. Again, it's censored down a bit, the violence, but even when it's censored down, there's still a few gruesome deaths here and there. You do get an ambulance driver, and you think at first he's disgusted in the way his partner's acting, because, he's stuffed in the lad has been cut to pieces. All the younger ones are crying in the river. And he's making a fucking joke about it. So he just sort of like gives him a dirty look and say, how dare you act like that? That's disgusting. But it does become a straightforward murder mystery after that, and I love it. I love it for that. Because you get a few gruesome deaths. You get one with electric, like a flare, not them flares that people use when they're lighting things up, rammed in someone's mouth. You get a throat getting slit. You get a fucking meat steamer on a woman's head. And this is the one I think had a lot of nudity, a lot of sets, and a few gruesome deaths on the way. Which is funny enough, the director at Diviners, Savage Streets, originally was a director that did porn. I'm not making this shit up. He directed fucking porn. So it definitely goes with the film. You get a couple that never stop fucking bonking. And apparently there was rumours that they did have a real set scene. They're doing a set scene in the film. But finding that footage, best of luck. One lad gets a really gruesome death where a leather belt and a piece of wood gets wrapped across his face, not making it up, and he squeezes it until it cusses. So imagine that feels like having a leather belt across your eyes and it's literally cussing to your fucking brain. Pretty gruesome death, and even I was like, oh. So there's a few good gruesome deaths, and it definitely is violent. This one is definitely not as light-hearted as the other ones in the violence, nudity, and a lot of other gruesome things. You do think it's Jason, he's come back from the dead and he's killing these people. And then in another part, you think Tommy has gone round the bend and he thinks he's chasing and he's killing all the teenagers one by one. Little do you know, it's not him. Remember when I said the ambulance driver that looked disgusted in his partner? He was the killer. Because the lad that was cut to pieces, that was his fucking son. That was his fucking son. And he sent him on the bend. He pretended to be Jason. He wore a hockey mask and everything. And started killing the kids one by one to get his revenge until he falls to his death. The only issue in the fucking film, though, is the ending. Right? Tommy has a nightmare. He's killed that girl. He gets wet. The scene where before that happens, the killer's chasing her and she falls and she's getting wet because it's pissing it down. I didn't notice he weren't wearing a bra. That's just me being a bit perverted. But yes, he has a nightmare of killing her, but it's just a nightmare. But then the door comes in. You see the windows smashed open and you see Tommy with the Jason mask, you know, the hockey mask, and he's about to stab her, and then it ends, it fades to black, and it's make your own decision. It pisses me off that, because if you ever see the sixth one, Tommy, he never mentions Tommy killing this girl, and I always thought this girl had a bit of a cuss on him, even though she was working with kids. So he never followed that on. He never fucking followed that on. What, did he kill the girl? Did he not kill the girl? Never followed it on. So to me, it was just stupid. If I could cut that, like I did with the second Friday the 13th film, if I could find a way of cutting that bit out and just show the ending with, let's say, they smashed the window and it looks like he's escaped, and then the sixth one follows that on, I fucking would. I fucking would. But the rest of the film's not bad. Again, it's a murder mystery, a few gruesome deaths on the way, and the director obviously knew what he was making. This is the one that had a lot of tits, a lot of nudity, a lot of bonking, and a few gruesome deaths. It definitely was the fine is in the Friday the 13th. And I don't think it's the weakest. And I do like the Tommy in this, because I like the bit he does martial arts. Yeah, wah, wah, and he batters his fucking lad. He's a bit of a dick. Batters him. I do like the woman in it before she gets the meat cleaver on the fucking head. Eat your fucking stew. She gets stew. She gets a meat cleaver slammed on her head. Oh, it's beautiful. It's just fucking beautiful. But yeah, done again by Paramount. Again, sad to say, some of the violence is timmed down, but it's still a bit defiant. The scene with that's there with the belt and the guy's face and it squeezes it. It's like a nerving scene of that someone could copy that, and that always frightens me more than anything else. Someone who's not all there could watch that and copy a scene from that film. But I'm not into all that shit. I never bought into it in the days of the video nasty, and I don't buy into that now. To me, it's just a movie. You know what I mean? It's just a straightforward, typical blood and gore, blood and dice slasher film, which I dilute. I like that type of film. I don't mean I'm morbid and sapping me fucking chainsaw, but yeah. Friday the 13th, A New Beginning, Part 5. It's a good one. Check it out as I'll be through some more on the way. Until then, I'll see you later.